time for another trip. This one's a little different. It's not really a road trip. I mean, it kind of is, but it's not. We are flying up to Connecticut for the wedding of a friend of ours, and Hannah had a great idea for something to film and a surprise for me. I didn't know she was doing this. We had to get a rental car for our weekend visit, and Hannah has rented a Tesla Model 3 through Hertz. As some folks are probably aware, Hertz carries a ton of electric cars now, and they've got it mostly are Tesla Model 3s. I think they've got some Model Ys and some Polestars now, but a couple years back, they inked a huge deal with Tesla to get like 100,000 Model 3s, and they've loaded up. They've got tons of them, and surprisingly, it wasn't really that much. Wasn't that much more expensive than any other gas car. So it's not like, we're breaking the bank for some fun treat. Like, it really wasn't that much more expensive, which was nice to see. But we thought it was really interesting. We obviously own a Model 3. We're very, very familiar with Teslas and how they operate, but the average person is not. So we thought we'd go into this trying to imagine if we've just never driven a Tesla and see how well they prepare us. So it really will be interesting to see how this goes, because a big company like Hertz renting out Model 3s can help or hurt adoption if they don't let you know ahead of time how to operate the vehicle and make you comfortable with it. You're going to hop in it and you're going to have a terrible time, and you're going to say, why are people buying these? But if they really prepare you, as simple as just telling you how to put it in gear, which is not automatically intuitive. If they don't prepare you for little stuff like that, you're going to hate it. If they do, you're going to think, this is amazing, I want one of these, which happens quite often. So yeah, this will be fun. We're gonna pick up the car up there in Connecticut and have it for a weekend. We're gonna do very little driving, and we've got to get to our destination. But there's not really side trips to speak of. This is more just, what is the experience like renting through Hertz? So we'll let you know how it goes. Our next stop is a charger at Sheetz. So we're gonna get some grub and get some electrons, and then it's on to Charlotte. All right, first and only stop at Sheetz. Can't really get a good look at it. You guys who aren't from the South don't know about Sheetz. It's awesome. A lot like a Wawa. You guys up north know about Wawa. Sheetz is really similar. Getting our electrons here at the handy dandy pull straight in charger. Love these. Just pull straight in, and it's right beside your charge port. A lot of charging stations have one or two of these, usually just one of these pull straight in. And then there's a row of, about a dozen other chargers down there. Nice juxtaposition here as we're getting our electrons. Got the old version of fuel over there, liquid fuel. We got some grub. I got some little sausage, pig in a blanket type things. Hannah's got the croissant witch, so we're fueling up for our trip, both in electrons and in food. And we'll hit the road. Yeah, Sheetz. So here's what I've got. These little sausage pig in a blanket things. Oh, they smell so good. And honey mustard sauce. And some Dunkin' coffee. And yes, Mom, we're being healthy. We have strawberries. We made sure to get some fruit. And Hannah's got a cranberry apple juice over here somewhere. Yeah, so the car needs to get fueled. And we need to get fueled. Let's go. All right, so Hertz sent some pretty helpful stuff in a couple of emails not long after we reserved the car, and I was looking through it, and it is very helpful. This first one has a lot of basics here, so got a link here, learn how to do all kinds of stuff in the Tesla. So let's check that out. They keep it, there's a lot of information, so it's tough to kind of distill it down to, a few key points, but I feel like they did a pretty good job. What's it like to drive a Tesla? It is very different from your normal gas cars, so they're trying to make that clear. Then they get into the basics, unlocking and locking using the key card that they give you. Interesting note on this, a little while after we got back, Hertz announced that they are going to allow app access, which is awesome, meaning you can download the Tesla app, sync it up to your car, and you can do climate control, lock and unlock, check your charging status, all that stuff from the app, which is awesome. But the key card's easy enough. I just thought it was cool that they announced that they're going to allow app access. So locking and unlocking the car, I mean, it sounds really basic, but entering and exiting the vehicle, I have to explain this to everybody who is new to a Tesla. Punch that button, don't pull the emergency lever to get out. Just opening up the door. These door handles are, once you get used to them, you love them, but man, they're different. Turn on the car, more key card stuff. Put the car in gear, you might be laughing about, like, why do they need to explain this? But it's different. It's just that little stalk up there, and, it's easy, but it's different. So this is good. Driving it, they get into regenerative braking and how the car just feels a little different. There's regenerative braking. Operating autopilot and cruise control, that's very helpful. Again, this is easy stuff, but it's stuff that you would definitely not know, and better to know ahead of time than fiddle around while you're in the car. So, yeah, that was good. And there's another email that they sent, so we'll check that one out as well. Okay, so this is within the second email that they sent. Got a link for frequently asked questions, and then you can just browse by topic. Charging, autopilot, some of this stuff the first email got into, but this is just a little bit of extra information. How to charge is helpful. Again, very, very simple, but you're just not going to know. If you've never driven one of these things, you don't know. And some of it's intuitive, some of it's not. So this was really helpful. They get into regenerative braking again, using the touch screen. Yeah, very helpful stuff. I'm glad that they did this. What I worry about is people just ignore this. I mean, really, we all are confident in our own abilities, and we think, I'll figure it out. It's a car. How different could it be? It can be very different. So kudos to them for putting this together. It's really laid out in a nice, simple manner, and they don't overload you. I just worry that people would just skip over this, but they can't help that. They can't control whether or not you look at this. All they can do is present the information, and I thought they did a good job. I was pretty impressed with what they sent. I tried and look over this imagining that I've never operated a Tesla before, and I feel like all the most important information is there, and there isn't really a lot of extras. They don't really get into bells and whistles that you don't really need. They just try to stick to the basics, which is important. But yeah, good job, Hertz. We thought this was really well done, and we appreciate them putting out the helpful information. So hopefully it drives more EV adoption. All right, we just did the long, fun check-in process. Always a lovely time. And here we go. One of these is ours. Let's see, we're 312. Yeah, this white one. And if the commercials are correct, Tom Brady should be in there to greet us. I think that's how it works. Yeah, we're checking to make sure this is definitely ours. There's spot 312. Yeah, white Model Y. All right, let's hop in. All right, the car looks good. It's the updated trim, not super updated, not the brand new Highland version, but it's the black trim on the outside, and it's got the wood grain extends over to the door. There's a couple other things. The steering wheel looks like it's a little bit higher quality. Other than that, just standard Model 3, nothing really out of the ordinary. It was a very easy process. One thing I was a little concerned about, they weren't really concerned with whether or not we knew how to operate one of these. There was no like, okay, have you driven one before? Here's the videos. Hannah did the booking of the car, and she was sent some very helpful videos. But I just don't know how many people actually are going to read and watch that stuff. But I'm going to go over it later. I'm going to do a little walkthrough of what they sent us. It was really helpful stuff, but it's just the type of thing I think people breeze over, and your average person's going to be like, yeah, it's a car. It's a car. How different could it be? Very different. Very different. The first time we ever drove one, we got to our destination and we had to Google how to put it in park, which, yeah, roll your eyes, we're idiots. Oh my God. It's just a different vehicle. It's a different vehicle. It's very, very different. It's easy, extremely easy, but there's a learning curve. Yeah, they sent some helpful stuff, but we'll get to that later. We got to go get some lunch and get to our hotel. Let's go. All right, so first impressions, it's a nice car. Like, I don't know if I was expecting like a rickety, beat up rental car, but they clearly take care of them. Also, the staff back there, while they didn't really prepare us, you know, and make sure we knew what we were expecting, they were prepared. They knew, you know, about the car, and like on our way out, instead of, they asked us what the charge was, and they knew where to look to check the charge. I don't know. They made a few comments where we're like, okay, they've been educated, which is good. But the other half of that is you need to make sure your customers are educated, because it's not gonna be a good customer experience if they just send us out there totally clueless, which I think most people do, honestly. Not making any accusations. I'm kind of like that. You know, I'm guilty of skimming through stuff and being like, yeah. Who needs instructions? Yeah. So far it's been a really good experience. Like I said, they did send some helpful videos that I'll go over later on when we get to the hotel. But I just noticed something really interesting. I'm a safe driver, but you know, when you're in a Tesla, you like to mash the accelerator a little bit when you've got a wide open lane, and it just felt kind of sluggish. I mashed the accelerator and just didn't really have that get up and go. And then I noticed we're in chill mode. And I thought, okay, well, that's, you know, normal. They'll throw them all in chill mode. It's a rental place, you know, take care of the cars. I'll take it out of chill mode. I couldn't take it out of chill mode. Tried to put it in standard, and it is locked. Which, again, I understand. If they've got all these things in regular mode, everybody's gonna hop in it, mashing it, driving around like an F1 car, and that's not gonna do the car any good. And yeah, it's also a safety feature. Mr. Hertz, I understand why you did that. I'm not happy about it, but I understand. But yeah, like I said, very clean car. It's in great condition, clearly well taken care of, and from the customer experience, it went really well. I really think, Xbox truck just pulling over onto the shoulder. I hope he's okay. They have great, from what it looks like, great materials for the customer to look over. But if I had one piece of advice to Mr. Hertz and all his employees, is just put forth a little effort to make sure the customer knows what they're getting into. Because again, it's not like just getting into any old car. Like, you can get out of a Toyota Corolla and get into a Mercedes E-Class or whatever, anything, any gas car. They're all about the same. But EVs, especially Teslas, are very, very different, almost in every way you can think of. Again, very simple, very easy, but just different. So that's my one little piece of advice. But so far, the experience has been really good. So we're gonna keep at it. All right, wedding weekend is done. We are tired. On our way back out, we stopped at a supercharger that was really close to the hotel, conveniently right next to a Dunkin'. That's nice. Love these pull straight in charger setups. You know, they've got all the regular just back end, but for lazy folks like me, I just like to pull right in and have the charging cable right beside the charge port. Yeah, so we're just juicing it back up a little bit. Interesting observation. I noticed it's set to charge to 100%, so that either means they don't know that you shouldn't be charging it up to 100% over and over again, or what I think might be more likely is this is one of the newer battery packs that's the LFP, the lithium iron phosphate that can be charged to 100% over and over again with no damage. So could be that, but I could also see them just not knowing that you don't charge it up to 100% over and over again. Oh man, what a weekend. This has been fun, getting the Tesla rental experience. It's been some pluses and minuses, but overall it was a really good experience. It was a successful weekend, and you know, big kudos to Hertz for bringing in tons of electric cars. I think some other rental companies are getting on board, but Hertz was the first to do it big, and I think by volume they're just blowing everybody else away with how many EVs they've got. But yeah, I'm gonna top this off and hit the road and then hit the air. All right, we are out of the air and back on the road, but we're almost home. It was a fun weekend, but we're worn out. As for the renting the Tesla through Hertz experience, just wanted to kind of wrap that up with some closing thoughts. It went really well. It was a great car, and it was a lot of fun to be on a trip a long ways away, and you know, away from our Tesla, and still have one. It was very cool that that's an option, and you know, hopefully good for EV adoption. So we really enjoyed it. It was a simple process. I mean, nothing about it was really different from, you know, your ordinary car rental process. It was all the same. The one thing that I really think is needed is just a little more effort to make sure that the customer knows what they're doing. The staff there definitely knew how to operate it. They were handling the touchscreen just fine, finding everything that they needed to after we turned it in, checking how many miles we put on it, all that stuff. They knew what they were doing, but there was never an effort made to make sure we knew. We did tell them when we were in line, we told the staff member that we own a Tesla, but I think that doesn't matter. She was just there to check us in, and there was no staff member beyond that after we got checked in and got the key to show us what to do, because they give you the key card as opposed to a fob or, you know, an actual key. They give you a card, and it's not real obvious how to use it. You sort of hold it up on the B pillar over here by the door to lock and unlock, and then there's kind of a spot down by the cup holder where you set it, and there's a little bit of instructions on the screen once you get into the car, but I mean, a lot of folks wouldn't even know how to get into it. I know it's tough to stay fully staffed, and adding another person is tough for companies to do, but the one thing I thought I would change is, especially since Hertz is really pushing EVs. I mean, they're pushing them big time. They had a good bit of other EVs there. A staff member in between check-in and then the person at the toll booth, you know, as you're leaving, just somebody to make sure you can get in the car and just double checks that you really don't have any questions. It doesn't have to be a drawn-out process. Just a couple minutes to make sure you're comfortable. I think that would be good. But yeah, overall, I'm glad that they're doing it. It's awesome. Good for you, Hertz. I think some other companies are getting on board too, but Hertz is leading the way. We had a great time, but it's time to get back to the real world. So we'll see you on the next electric adventure. Bye.